Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here and welcome back to my channel and another video that is brought to you through the EA Game Changers program. I actually was provided with early access to The Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu, the brand new game pack for The Sims 4, which is based on Galaxy's Edge over in Disney World and Disneyland, and it's all about Star Wars, the First Order, the Resistance, and this is my first video in this kind of preview early access stages, and I decided to kick it off with gameplay. I don't do it very often, but with this being a game pack, I figured why the heck not just jump straight into the gameplay that is included in this pack. So obviously we have the welcoming screen as usual, so experience the edge of the galaxy. Your Sims are definitely not at home anymore. From the Millennium Falcon to the bustling cantina and unique attire of Batuu, Sims will be surrounded by the iconic sights and sounds of Star Wars. Create your Star Wars story. The Resistance, First Order, and Scoundrels are fighting to control Batuu, but your Sims' actions determined who will succeed. As Sims undertake challenges and special missions, you'll tip the balance of power. Unite with iconic characters. The possibilities shift depending on your Sim's actions. Will you choose to support Kylo Ren in his efforts to uncover the Resistance base, or will you join Rey and Vi Maradi in the fight against the First Order? And get your own lightsaber and droid. This is obviously a big part of Batuu in Galaxy's Edge. So explore Batuu to find kyber crystals and hilts for the most coveted Star Wars artifact, a lightsaber. Collect every piece to construct a blade that's all your own, or visit the Droid Depot and purchase your very own droid to help you on your adventures. So right off the bat, we're going to jump into Aspirations. So Listen over here has one of the brand new aspirations, which is Hope v Order, which then technically turns into two different aspirations, but the first steps are visit every neighborhood on Batuu to ask about the Resistance or First Order presence on Batuu, and complete a mission for the Resistance or the First Order. This definitely splits off into two different ones, which we will get into once we actually reach that point in the gameplay. And then Finn has the, I guess, third aspiration, which is Galactic Privateer. And with that, what Finn needs to do is order a drink at Ogre's Cantina, play 5 rounds of Sabacc, reach programming level 3, swindle 2 Sims, complete 5 missions for the Scoundrel faction, open supply crate, successfully bribe a First Order stormtrooper, skim credits from 3 control panels, successfully cheat and win at Sabacc, and then have more than 5,000 galactic credits, explore 5 times in the Millennium Falcon, and finally reach Scoundrel Reputation rank 5. And as most of us guessed, Batuu is actually classed as a destination world, and so you can actually go on vacation to Batuu, just like you can any other vacation world such as Granite Falls and also Salvadorada in The Sims 4. You just go to your Sim's phone and you can choose to go on vacation, but it's a little bit different because one, there isn't technically anywhere to stay. There are no like physical buildable lots in Batuu, and also, you can stay there indefinitely because there's this cool little setup, which we'll get into, called the dwellings, where you can basically sleep and freshen yourself up, and then there's loads of places to eat. So you don't really have to pick a certain number of days to go on vacation to Batuu. You just choose who you want to travel with from your family, and then it will take you into the loading screen. You obviously pick your destination world, which is gonna be Batuu. So like previously mentioned, there are 3 different neighborhoods of Batuu. However, there's technically no livable lots. But the first neighborhood to the left of the map is actually the Resistance encampment. This is located deep in the forests of Batuu. Rumor has it that you can find Vi Maradi, the famous Resistance spy. However, you will need to earn the trust of the resistance before they will accept you with open arms. Then next up, right slap bang in the middle, we have Black Spire Outpost. This is the central hub of Batuu. Here you can find the dwelling, Ogre's Cantina, Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, and a number of food and drink options. And then lastly, we have the First Order District. This is the First Order occupied sector of Batuu. Here you can find Lieutenant Agnon as well as the Droid Depot if you are looking to acquire your very own droid companion. I obviously decided to go to Black Spire Outpost first. Also, the loading screen is a throwback to the Star Wars transitions. It is an exclusive to this pack, so don't think that we're getting these loading screens for everyone. It's just if you buy Journey to Batuu. So you kind of get this pop-up notification that says, whilst on Batuu, you will use different currency called galactic credits, and you have a special inventory. Don't worry, your simoleons and inventory contents are safe at home. To get started, check your career panel for your first mission to help you get your bearings. So you get a notification that says, welcome to Batuu. But more importantly, if you go to your career tab, you can actually see a mission, and that is welcome to Batuu. Missions play a very important role in this game pack. It's actually the majority of the gameplay in this pack is to do with missions. So this is just kind of getting you into grips with the whole situation. So our tasks are to plan my outfit at the dwelling, freshen up at the dwelling, and then also order food from Docking Bay 7. So as you will notice, all of my Sims actually changed their outfits. So they have completely different outfits for Batuu. You can choose up to 5 different outfits, and you can do this at the dwelling just by choosing to plan your outfit as usual. And for completing this welcome mission, we will actually receive 200 credits to our bank account. And then we also got even more new UI. So there's a lot of reading when you first hop into this game pack. I am going to warn you guys, but this is basically part of our personality, and it's called Batuu Reputation. And this basically shows which factions you're with, like who you're doing well with, who you're not doing so well with, and also like how you're getting on, what ranks you are. So this panel displays your Sim's reputation with the 3 factions of Batuu. Scoundrel reputation can be gained and lost independently of the other 2 factions. However, Resistance and First Order cannot be gained without losing reputation in the other. Hover over each reputation bar to see what the next level will provide your Sim. So you actually unlock things as you level up. Obviously, the Resistance and the First Order are against each other in this game pack, so if you choose to align yourself with the Resistance and start doing missions for them, your First Order will actually start to fall. However, Scoundrel, anyone can be a Scoundrel. So if you just want to make some extra money on the side, maybe have more of a chance of finding some lightsaber pieces or scrap metal, or you just want to get to know Hondo a little bit better, then you can actually do Scoundrel separately to the other 2. So you could have someone who's in the Resistance but also a Scoundrel, which I think is what I'm actually going to do in my Let's Play, because I want to do like a Sim self. I had my Sim Darcy go and actually plan her Batuu outfits, and this just takes you into Create a Sim as usual, and you actually, like I said, get 5 options to choose outfits. I decided to go all black for her because I knew that I wanted her to be on the darker side of the Force. Then I also had her freshen up because that was part of the mission as well. I will say most of the things that you interact with are rabbit holes. In each district there's 1 non-rabbit hole, so obviously here it's Ogre's Cantina and the rest are just rabbit holes. So even when ordering food, you kind of just go to Docking Bay 7 and it pops up with a menu that you can choose from. It is quite a cool UI because it kind of tells you who the owner is or who's cooking and gives you a little bit more of their backstory and like why they're here, what they do. And then you can just choose. I actually went for a Batuu bun because I thought that was like a nice little afternoon snack just to fill us up before we start looking into Batuu and all the factions. And this is pretty much like city living, so once you eat something on Batuu, you can actually like take the recipe home and your sim will learn it, so they can cook it when they like from home. After Darcy ordered her Batuu bun and we completed the first mission, there was automatically a second welcome mission waiting for me, in which I had to ask about the Resistance, I had to ask about the First Order, and I had to ask about the Scoundrels. You actually had to do each of these 3 times. You can do this with any sim that you see on Batuu. Like I said, you can do it with DJ Rex over in the cantina if you want to, or you can just ask like any pedestrian in the world, and it actually doesn't have to be 3 different sims. I just grabbed this blonde lady and I was like, you're the one I'm coming to for information. And so I asked about the Resistance, I asked about the First Order and the Scoundrels 3 times over. You'll get a little notification that tells you where they're probably hiding out or where the First Order is based, and it's just to give you that info so that you can start traveling to the different neighborhoods and getting to know which faction you want to be in. After I spoke to the blonde chick a few times, I got mission complete. Congratulations on completing your first mission. Now that you have your bearings, we recommend exploring the other neighborhoods of Batuu by clicking travel in your phone. I just always hit the M key. I literally never ever use my Sims phone to travel. New missions can be obtained from Sims with a faction icon above their head. And Darcy's lifetime aspiration actually said I needed to complete a mission for the Resistance or the First Order faction. So with her being sort of this darker entity, I knew I wanted to get her into the First Order. So we headed over to the First Order neighborhood, and I basically just spoke to a stormtrooper who told me that I should go and see Lieutenant Agnon in the First Order district if I wanted to know more about their ranks. So I had a little search. I actually found the lieutenant. He had the First Order symbol above his head. He was pretty easy to spot. Like I said, he hangs around the cargo base quite a lot, and I basically asked him to see missions, and he came up with a First Order missions list. He only had one, obviously, which is the beginning one, so I am counting on you to spread the word about our vision of the future for Black Spire Outpost. The citizens must understand that everything we do is for their own good. It is within their best interest to cooperate with us. When you have finished conversing with the residents, report back to me. Like I said, these missions are pretty much the main portion of gameplay that you'll go through within this pack. They do differentiate, like there are numerous ones that you can actually take part in. Some of them include flying in either the X-Wing if you're in Resistance, or the TIE Fighter if you're in the First Order. Also, for the First Order, you can ID citizens, you can actually arrest resistant members, you can move people along, you can hack into the communicators, steal from resistance crates. There's a bunch of different ones. There's also like rendezvous ones where you actually get sent to Ogre's Cantina and you have to meet up with like a spy or someone who has information that the First Order needs, and you kind of have to detect who they are within Ogre's Cantina, receive something from them, and then report back to the lieutenant. I will say, as I was playing through the missions, there's definitely a fair few loading screens. It's fine if you're on a mission where you stay within your specific faction area, but there are times where you actually have to travel to either Ogre's Cantina, like I said, or you have to like go to the other base, and you do seem to have loading screens a lot. And I would say, like, I don't know if these feel grindy because there are different missions that you can do and you can kind of pick and choose. Obviously, once you get past like the first level. It actually took me 2 first order missions to reach rank 1, and then from there more opportunities opened up, so I could switch like back and forth. And also Kylo Ren actually appeared. I can't remember if it was when I hit level 2 in the ranking or when I hit level 3 in the ranking, but Kylo does appear, and if you like fail a mission you have to report to Kylo, and it's kind of terrifying because he's a scary, scary boy, and he like whips out his lightsaber and he does some weird force stuff on you. I don't know what he does, but it is slightly terrifying, and I almost pissed my pants the first time it happened. Sorry, Disney. So you rank up by doing as many missions as possible, and for ranking up you definitely unlock different things. So you can get Kyber crystals. I actually managed to get Darcy to a level 5 ranking within the First Order, which was crazy. I was basically trying to make her like Kylo Ren's little like teacher's pet. She was definitely sucking up to him a lot, and that makes me want to say, I just want to put it out there, you cannot romance or woohoo Kylo Ren or Rey or anyone else who is an NPC within this world. Trust me, I tried it. I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, I want to live out my romantic fantasies with either of them. Unfortunately, you can't do it. I don't know if that should be an unfortunately, but you can't do it. I even tried the relationship cheat with Kylo Ren. It didn't work for friendship. It definitely didn't work for romance. So you cannot woohoo or romance Kylo Ren or Rey or Vi Moradi or Lieutenant. Lieutenant kind of reminds me of Mortimer and Don Lothario. He's like a mix between the two. Speaking of romance, there is a new woohoo spot. All I'm gonna say is it's very Disney. So there's actually not even a kissing animation, which is kind of strange to me. I was sort of expecting it to be like the wardrobe woohoo, where your Sims will kind of smush themselves up against the dwelling doors and then just like go inside the rabbit hole, but there's none of that. They just disappear into the rabbit hole that is the dwellings. Maybe I shouldn't say rabbit hole when I'm talking about woohoo. Again, I apologize. But then they just do the deed. There are some fireworks, there's some love hearts coming from the top of the building, as usual, and that is the new woohoo that is included in this pack. So a little lackluster, if you ask me. I also will say one definitely disappointing part of this pack is that I created one of my Sims back in Oasis Springs to actually be one of the aliens. He was actually going to be a Moralian, but unfortunately when I actually took him over to Batuu, he lost his green skin, and when I tried to change his outfit in the dwelling, it wouldn't actually allow me to have any of the alien race's details, like whatsoever. Not the makeup, not the hats, they just were not available in the dwelling, and I don't really know why that decision was taken. Maybe it's so you didn't like mix them up with like actual residents of Batuu, but he's my Sim, so I wouldn't have mixed him up anyway. It just seems to be a really odd choice that you can't play as an alien, because I had this really cool storyline of like these two had found him and they wanted to return him back to Batuu so that he could become a Jedi, and then it just wasn't possible because he apparently wasn't allowed to be an alien, which is bizarre because we're on Batuu and he should be allowed to be an alien. After I finished the first level of the Hope v Order aspiration, I actually got this notification. The struggle between the First Order and the Resistance has come to Batuu. The hope of freedom drives the Resistance, whilst the First Order seeks to extend their control. Which side will you support whilst on Batuu? You can change your aspiration at any time. So this is where that first aspiration of Hope v Power actually splits off into two different branches. You can choose to support the First Order or you can choose to support the Resistance. The Enforcer of Order aspiration entails recruiting 3 Sims to join the First Order, seize goods from 2 supply crates in Blackspire Outpost, complete 2 missions for the First Order, check ID of 5 Batuu citizens, obtain a droid, arrest a member of the Resistance, infiltrate the Resistance bunker and slice the holotable, explore 5 times in the TIE echelon, and finally reach First Order reputation rank 5. Whereas the Paragon of Hope aspiration entails introducing yourself to 3 Resistance members, exploring the caves, complete 2 missions for the Resistance, recruit 3 Sims, obtain a droid companion, override locks and loot 2 supply crates in the First Order district. So these are very similar, it's just kind of you're working against the opposing faction. Infiltrate the First Order cargo, explore 5 times in the X-Wing, and reach Resistance reputation rank 5. I also will say, when you're doing missions for the First Order and you have to like arrest citizens or check their IDs, I wish the tag above their heads didn't tell you what they were before you ID'd them. Because it just takes away the surprise element and you're like, well, why am I IDing someone if I already know that they're a Resistance member? It just seems very strange to me, the fact that they're already labeled. I think their label should pop up after you ID them as kind of like a confirmation, because it just feels weird otherwise, and there's just like no element of surprise. It's like the game makes it far too easy to be able to complete the missions because you already know where someone's allegiance lies. So what about the other team and playing for the Resistance? This is pretty much exactly the same. I had my sim go talk to DJ Rex. He told me where they'd be hiding out. I traveled on over to the camp. I actually spoke to Vi first, and she told me that I should go speak to some other Resistant members. Like, she clearly did not trust me, which I'm all about because she is a spy in herself. So I went over, I just talked to a random Resistance member, and they actually told me if I wanted to learn more information about the Resistance ranks, I had to use the interaction called Ignite the Spark, which is sort of like a code word for the Resistance, so you know like they're a member. So I ignited the spark with that alien, and he actually gave me a welcoming mission from that. The Resistance actually took 3 missions for me to enter, and then once I actually was able to join the Resistance, I could then go back to Vi, and she was basically my contact. You can just continue talking to other Resistant members for jobs for the Resistance, but I like to be official, and so I kept bugging Vi about it. And then it was exactly the same when I hit level 2, I think it was. Then Ray arrived, which her accent is hilarious. I was not expecting it. But basically what they've done is put a British accent into Simlish. And, like, I know what you're thinking. You're like, Molly, that doesn't sound like something that's distinguishable. Like, this is a language. Like, Simlish is its own thing. Trust me, she talks with a very heavy English accent. Like, it kind of sounds Cockney at points. And I'm just like, that's definitely not how Ray talks in the films. But you know what? I'll allow it, EA. It did give me a good giggle, though, because I just wasn't expecting that. Especially when Kylo sort of didn't have that accent. Also, it's actually quite nice to like watch a film or play a game where someone with an English accent isn't automatically coded as the bad guy. Hey, would you look at that? I might be a Jedi. I might be a good Jedi.
Steve to Forsha, Idvu, Ishla Dirkscheib, the Bishla Vornay, Glana Moobsy, Restubish, Ringoa, Yibson Nebi.
I'm so excited to actually get into my Let's Play of this, purely because I want to live out my own Jedi fantasies. Like, I want a purple or yellow lightsaber. I want to look sick as hell doing all my little lightsaber tricks. It's basically because I want to be a lesbian TikToker who knows how to swing a lightsaber around. That is my one dream EA, if you want to send me a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber, I'm about it. Finally, let's chat about the last faction, which is of course Scoundrels, run by the one and only Hondo, who hides out in the cantina. I had my sim go ask him about the Scoundrels, and he said, "Scoundrels? Haha, we're pirates, and we don't even know what that means. Ask to see missions, and I will be happy to show you what legitimate business opportunities I have." So what's this I see? A fresh, a new face. Care to join me in a game of Sabacc? It's really only the proper way to get to know someone. What have you got to lose? You might make a new friend. Either way, you get to bask in my good looks for a while. So basically, Sabacc is a card game in the Star Wars universe that you bet on. So you actually do put down credits on it, which is honestly crazy to me. The fact that we we've had the lottery in Seasons in The Sims 4, but the fact that we kind of got gambling in a Disney pack is bizarre to me. I mean, I know it's technically not gambling because you're not betting your real life money on this, and so honestly guys, just be careful when it comes to that stuff. But it just, I was a little bit shocked that we actually could lose or gain money on this, but I did actually have my sim beat Hondo, which I definitely was not expecting. And then once you beat him at a game of Sabacc, you can just go up to him and ask to see missions. Mission complete. I got my 400 credits, and I also got myself a lightsaber hilt, which is very, very exciting. I will say, I feel like Scoundrels have the best rewards for their missions. I don't know what it is. The Resistance and the First Order, you have to get quite high up to get really good rewards, but boom, straight out after my first mission with Hondo, I got a lightsaber. That's pretty OP if you ask me. Thank you, Hondo. There's a bunch of different ways that you can actually get lightsabers and also kyber crystals, which you are going to need for the hilts to place into the hilts, and then the blade appears once you actually add a kyber crystal. So we got the protection and defense one, which sounds perfect for a Jedi. We got this by doing a mission with Hondo, but you can also get them from ranking up in specific factions, and you kind of unlock the ones that are specific to your factions, and you can also receive kyber crystals that way. You can also find kyber crystals in the scrap metal piles that you will find around Batuu. You just have to search through the piles, and you'll be able to basically recycle them like you can regular materials in the regular Sims 4 game. And then there's also Savvy's workshop, but we'll get into that in a little bit, because I want to give our little Jedi here his lightsaber, and then I realized that I needed a kyber crystal to work this lightsaber. So we actually went over to Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, who also happens to sell a couple of kyber crystals. All the time I was playing this, Doc Ondar's actually didn't change, the stock didn't change at all. He was only selling blue and green crystals, a couple of holocrons, and then just some regular decoration that you could take home once you had finished your vacation in Batuu. So it wasn't the most interesting. I was kind of expecting a rotating stock, kind of how it works in Realm of Magic, and I played I feel at least a good week and a half of this, and it didn't change whatsoever. So I picked up a blue kyber crystal, and then we had ourselves a working Jedi lightsaber. I mean, you could go anyway, but I decided to go kind of canon with the protective lightsaber and then a blue or a green crystal. And I will throw in that the athletic skill is actually tied to the lightsabers. So the higher your athletic skill, the better you're going to be at wielding your lightsaber and fighting other people. So there's a couple of things you can do with lightsabers. You can just duel with them, which is a friendly interaction. So that means just like a mess about with your mates. You can also challenge another sim, and then you can also head on over to Xavi's workshop and actually take part in a lightsaber challenge, in which you basically challenge someone to a lightsaber duel. If you win, you get the specific credits that they were offering. If you lose, I'm assuming you lose the certain credits because they get them, but I obviously only won mine because I'm the best Dark Forces Jedi out there. Wow, Sith was the word I was looking for. It actually feels pretty damn good though when your sim like finally gets their lightsaber to work. I don't know why, but there was just some slight satisfaction. And then in Xavi's workshop, you can also purchase different hilts, and you can also purchase the red kyber crystal. So if you do have a dark side sim, you can actually purchase the red there if you wanna go with the canon aspect of Star Wars. Also, I will point out with the lightsaber challenge, I thought my game was just glitching out because like no one appeared and then the challenge disappeared from Xavi's workshop, but actually they were just like waiting in the town square for me and I didn't even realize. They have a tag over their head that basically says lightsaber challenger. You'll just need to look for them within like the area of Xavi's workshop, and that was just me being dumb. And then next to lightsabers being customizable, we also now have access to droids. So droids are basically the little robots of the Star Wars universe. They can actually help your sims out on their missions and also their aspirations. They're actually super handy to have. I was quite scared going into this pack. I thought that droids were just gonna be like familiars in Realm of Magic. They're actually a lot more helpful and in way better detail than the familiars were. So you can head to the First Order area and you can head to the droid depot where a brand new user interface will pop up, and again it tells you the creator. It is Mubo, gives you a little description about who Mubo is and what they do. I do like the interface. I think it's still like a picture, and there are a lot of like pop-ups in this pack. There's a lot of pop-ups and there's a lot of reading, so if that's not for you, then I would say that you probably wouldn't enjoy this pack. It does seem to be like a point and click adventure. So there are two actual models of droids that you can buy. There's the R model and there's also the BB model. So for my Resistance member, I went with a BB model. There are a choice of different heads and a choice of different bodies. There's different color combinations. So there's black, red, blue and white. Red and white. There's a ton of different customizable options. You don't have to do matching if you don't want to. I think I went for a black body and then a blue head. There's unfortunately not an orange one like BB-8 in the actual new trilogy, which is quite unfortunate. I would have loved to see an orange one. And then I went for an R model with my Sith sim, which is actually really cool because I chose a purple head to match her purple hair and then a black body to match like obviously the Sith element of her, and the droid just represented her as a sim, which I thought was really clever in my head. I was like, oh, yeah, Molly, you're getting creative. This was whilst I was playing at 3 a.m. in the morning, so went a little bit cuckoo. What can they get up to? They can obviously follow you around. You can set them to a follower protocol in which they'll kind of just trail behind your sims wherever you walk, and they actually stay out as you travel. It will say that they've gone back into your inventory, but if they're on follow mode, then they will actually follow you to a different neighborhood. If you have deactivated them, they'll just go back into your inventory, and then you can just put them back into the world and activate the follow. So that's how they work. They can play music, they can play Batuu or DJ Rex, which are two new music categories that we get in this pack. You can tinker with them, which actually brings up your handiness skill. Handiness comes in really, really helpful when it comes to droids. Like I said, fitness comes in really helpful with lightsabers, and then programming comes in really helpful when you're trying to hack into control panels and things. Also, charisma is quite a handy skill to have. Just gonna throw that out there, information for you guys in case you wanted it. Then you can also upgrade them. You can make them better pilots. You can make them better at hacking, for example. You can make them better distractions. There's a bunch of different actual upgrades that you can do to make them a little bit more helpful on your missions. You do have to use scrap metal for that. Scrap metal, quite hard to come by. There are a couple of different junk piles, but not a lot. You can also get scrap metal from breaking into chests throughout Batuu, but I was finding scrap metal really, really hard to come by. I would have quite liked it if you could just purchase it from like Savvy's workshop or maybe like Doc Ondar's. So they can also shock people. You can set them out on the stormtroopers. If you're a resistance member, you can have them shock stormtroopers. You can also have them override chests, which is quite handy if your sim isn't great at the programming skill and your actual sim keeps failing. Just send your droid over there to do your dirty work. And they can also hack into control panels for your sims as well, which is all very handy when it comes to missions in which you have to do those things. One thing that I will say about this pack is that there's not a lot of consequences. If you go out of your way to interact and annoy another member of the opposite faction, like for example, I had my resistance sim actually like confront a stormtrooper and they got into a fight and he was actually arrested for a little bit. But when you're just like interacting with the world, they kind of look suspicious. Like they look around to make sure no one's watching them if they're doing a mission in the other faction area. But say if I had my resistance guy or the droid like trying to hack a control panel in the First Order section, there would be stormtroopers walking by and they wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Like they wouldn't even do a double take. It was like they didn't even really care, which is kind of annoying because I wish that they at least like reacted in some way, even if it was just like a shocked reaction and then maybe they questioned you afterwards. I could see why it would get annoying, especially with the amount of missions that you have to do, but it just felt really flat and like there was no consequences whatsoever unless you were going out of your way to annoy them. And also at the Droid Depot, you can actually purchase personality chips. You can install these into your droids and you can actually purchase them when you reach level 3 in either Scoundrels, Resistance or First Order. They are all individual. They have individual voices. That's really all it affects. It just affects how your droid actually talks. So nothing too crazy, but it is part of Galaxy's Edge. So it's nice that they included it, even though it's something quite small that doesn't really make too much of a difference. And then to wrap up, I just want to talk about things that I kind of noticed whilst I was playing. So there's no kyber crystal information, which I find really weird. There's like no information about the hilts of the lightsabers, and there's no information about the kyber crystals, like what the color means, what the description is, like what that means to your sim or your Jedi, because I know that in Star Wars lore, I'm not the best person about this kind of stuff, I'm not the most knowledgeable, but I know that each kyber crystal is different, and that like the black one is super rare and super powerful and really dark. The red one is usually dark side, and then the like purple one, for example, because this is the one that I know, it kind of treads the line between the light and the dark side, and that's what it means in the universe. But none of that information is given in this game, which I find really strange because, like I said, you can scan so many items around the world. You can find out so much information about the lore if you want to by scanning objects, and yet when it comes to like the important stuff that actually define your sim, again, it just feels like the general sort of problem that we have with The Sims 4 right now of not really having a lot of personality. It doesn't actually tell you anything about like why you chose it. And the hilts as well. If I didn't know that power and control meant dark side usually, I would have no idea. Like I wouldn't know that that was a thing because the game didn't tell me that information. There are some overpowering objects that I noticed. I already talked slightly on the milk stands. I just felt like my sim wanted to go and buy milk all the time. Like, yeah, okay, good for you, buddy. Like, yeah, I would like some popcorn at all times too, but can we focus on said mission, please? So that was one thing. And also the tents in the resistance area. My sim constantly wanted to go and relax, like all the time. Like, please just focus on your mission. I know you're tired. I'm tired too. I know it's 2020 and we just want to sleep it away, but let's focus. And I know that this is going to be one of the main questions that you guys have, but did I see anyone on Batuu who was a townie from any other world, such as the base game worlds, because I only had base game installed? No, I did not. It's not like Realm of Magic where Bella Goth can just make her way into the Realm of Magic. Everyone who was on Batuu was like a written character for that world. They are Sims who fit in with the environment. There was not one single person who wasn't wearing a Star Wars themed outfit, and that also transfers back over to the actual game. And I didn't see anyone walking around Oasis Springs or Willow Creek. I played a few days, I just sped up. I didn't see one single person wearing Star Wars attire. That's not to suggest that they may not, but I think the Sims team counteracted that with obviously having separate outfits for Batuu and having to change your Sims outfits under that option. So it kind of locks them into this tight world, which is really nice to see because it doesn't break your immersion and you actually feel like you're kind of on a different planet. So big props to the Sims team for that one, because I knew that was going to be an issue if they did sort of just meld together. And that pretty much wraps it up. I know that was a lot of information to take in. If you feel like I did miss anything, then definitely ask questions down below. I am happy to answer as many as possible, and now I can freely talk about it because embargo lifted. So if you do have any questions or anything needs clarifying, then please let me know. I will say I had fun for like the 6 hours that I got hands-on with this and like actually playing. I don't think I'd probably go back to it too often, I have to say. I just don't think it's like a replayable world. You can't really put any routes down in Batuu, especially because there's no livable lots. So it's fun for like the time being, like whilst you are playing it. I will say it's more of a completionist pack. I feel like it's a very linear story, and once you kind of reach an endpoint, you're like, cool, I did that, and now I'm gonna focus my gameplay elsewhere. So does it expand upon the game as it is? Not really. And I will say, if you want to take your time with it, just have like one of each. Don't go in all three. You can have all three, and you can have 3 Sims on Batuu at the same time, and you can play all different stories at the same time. That's what I did for this gameplay. But I think if you want to take it a bit more slowly, then kind of just, you know, experience one and then the other and then the last faction to kind of split up a little bit. Maybe take some time in between them because, like I said, the missions are quite similar even though you pick different factions. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it was a lot of information. I hope that it helped though. And let me know what you guys think. If you're gonna get this, what faction do you think you'll go for first? What are you looking forward to exploring? Let me know what you think of the gameplay, and I will speak to you all in my next video, which is gonna be my Creator Sim overview. Bye guys!